You stupid bitch. Yeah, you're a stupid bitch. You stupid bitch. Stupid bitches say what? Take one. Our pilot test run.
Welcome to this week's episode of Stupid Bitches Say What?
What?
The Aussie podcast about everything and nothing, but always with wine. With your hosts, Sean Bino Hipkins.
And Skye Collett. In today's episode, I'm going to reflect on all things Survivor, while Skye will walk us through the review of The Undoing by Jean Hanff Korelitz. Jean. I'm going to reflect on all things Survivor, while Skye walks us through the review of The Undoing by Jean Hanff Korelitz, which is also now a popular TV series starring Nicole, Kidman, and Hugh Grant.
So what are you drinking, Sean?
You stupid bitch. I'm drinking a bottle of Cully Road.
Oh, you've already poured the glass. I was actually going to pour the glass for sound effect.
Look, it's been a hell of a day. I'm not going to lie. I had the thing poured into my decanter about 15 minutes ago. I need that shit to breathe.
Decanter.
And yes.
Can you hear that? Can you hear the sound of that wine being poured?
It sounds delicious. It sounds red. And
so say that again. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Cully Road, Culley, and it's a Grenache, which it's red.
Shut your mouth.
My dirty.
I'm drinking Grenache.
Actually,
we did not plan
Grenache.
This. We didn't.
We did it.
Is it Grenache? Grenache. We really didn't plan this. So it's not the Engine Room one by Hamish Maguire.
No, it's Cully Road, as per my previous announcement, by In Good Company Altschwager Keneally, AWAK.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's from Naked Wines. I'm assuming so. It's South Australia anyway. But it's red, and that's what I need tonight.
And it's delicious.
It is tasty. Yeah.
Excellent.
Aromas of Grenache are strong.
I didn't even know what Grenache is.
Neither do I. I'm just usually a heavy red. If I can't see through it, I'm happy.
I would describe myself as a heavy red of late. Definitely. heavy red drinker. Cheers, by the way.
Yeah. Cheers.
Please.
Cheers to our first episode.
Yes, cheers to our first episode.
Hang
Hurrah!
Did you hear that?
That was excellent.
That's the cheers.
I loved it. Okay, so you're going to ask me what I'm drinking now.
So, what Grenache are you drinking now, Skye?
Okay. So I'm drinking an Engine Room by Hamish Maguire. It's a 2020 McLaren Vale Shiraz Mataro Grenache.
Mine is also a 2020 McLaren Vale.
God, we're so on the same wavelength.
This shit is meant to happen.
Considering we're in different states.
I know. Of different states of inebriation.
That too, definitely that too, because I've just had my first sip. I wanted to be reasonably sober before we started this up. And you know what? I was really excited to drink this because I've been drinking, remember how I was telling you I was drinking the Cab Savs? Good old Cabernet Sauvignon, which is my normal fave. And it's in the same brand. And then I started drinking the one that I couldn't pronounce that starts with S, that we had this big discussion about. And you thought I was trying to say Sauvignon in the wrong way. And I wasn't. I was trying to say Syrah something
else that starts with Sav or Sa.
No, it's not a Sav sound. It's a Sev.
That's right.
This is the exact conversation that we had. Now I can't think of it, and I don't want to Google it because I don't want to be typing while I'm talking.
No.
Okay,
that's time for it. That's for the next episode. You can bring out that Sav.
Yes. Okay. All right.
It's a Cabernet. So anyway, how's your day been?
Look, it's been a crazy week at work. I know you can relate. So it's Friday, and it's the weekend, and I have a day off on Monday, so it's a long weekend. So I can't complain. I really can't complain. How about you?
Look, it has been a week, and I feel like that's going to be a running theme with our Friday night sessions of just get me
timing.
that fucking wine.
It's totally a timing thing, isn't it? It's going to be, why are we fucking doing this on a Friday?
So we know that we're going to be recording on a Friday.
Yeah.
But
and
hopefully releasing around.
Because as soon as I take my first sip, it's like, ugh, and I don't want to get too inebriated in like the first 15 minutes. Jesus, if I start pouring my second glass, you better time check me and see how far in we are.
So the plan is we're going to drink a bottle during the session. If it's been a bad week, we know we're going to probably have about 2.
Yes.
But I can see that you did pour yourself a big fucking glass there.
It's a large one, yes. I'll see that. So that's what I'm saying. If you see me pour my second glass in the next 20 minutes, you might want to tell me to hold up.
All right.
To pace myself.
I probably won't, because I want to see how this turns out.
Yes, I'm happy with that. Okay.
But yes, so the schedule will be, we're going to record Friday nights, drink wine Friday nights, and hopefully release on a Tuesday. Or Wednesday, when we figure out how long it takes to edit this mofo, and then get into a bit of a routine, which is exciting.
We get a host, a podcast host. We also need to research that.
We need to research marketing.
Think about, yes, marketing. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, we need to research everything outside of the topic that we've researched for tonight's podcast. But fair play to you. You have actually done a bit of groundwork, and thank you for that.
Oh, thanks.
But no worries. All right, so
we're going to jump right into it.
Or do you want to talk about how, so this is our, as we said, our first episode. So we've just thrown together a pilot. We've just thrown together some topics that we loved and what we want to talk about. You love books. I love Survivor. But do we want to talk about what the
music, please?
Both love music. We do, and we get very, very aggressive
very
with our
passionate about music, particularly pop music.
And who gets to play the next song?
Yes.
Started many a fight. So, do we want to talk about how we plan on rolling out the series once we get into it?
Let's do that. I'm going to bring up some notes that I have.
All right.
Because we did have a bit of it, but we will need to discuss that rhythm and how that's going to run, because we weren't going to do pop culture first.
No, so that's right. This is a potpourri episode. This is whatever the fuck we wanted to do, and then we'll follow a schedule after that. This.
So this is our this will be an episode on pop culture, but for those listeners out there, talking to our fans, Bino, I'm talking to our fans.
Which we do realise at this stage is my husband and your soon-to-be husband and my cats.
Yes. We don't want to add my cat into that one. So pop culture, true crime, which we know is a bit of a niche out there and everyone's into it. But Sean Bino, I call him, and you'll get used to that.
And also stupid bitch.
And stupid bitch. Or SB for short.
For Sean Bino, or stupid bitch.
Stupid bitch, please. Come on. So let's look at the list. We've got true crime, which Bino is obsessed with.
Which will focus on
medium interested in.
Yeah, and it'll be Australian, New Zealand true crime.
That's right. Then we've got pop culture, which we've talked about, historical events, listeners' choice, which again we recognise will probably just be our respective partners just emailing the Gmail account that we set up.
Well, for the first couple of months.
Telling us what they do or don't want to hear on our podcast. I'm sure there's lots of things that they won't want us to talk about. And then what's our special? Fifth Friday?
So the formatting is, I guess, every Friday we'll do one. So in each month, so you typically have 4 Fridays. So the first Friday of the month, we're going to talk about true crime, Australia, New Zealand. Second Friday, something to do with pop culture. Third Friday, as you said, historical events, and then the listener's choice, where we go with what the listeners want. We'll both research a topic and then bring it to the table and discuss. But then in those crazy months where there is a 5th Friday, it's going to be some taboo topic. What? We don't know. but we'll find something that's a bit racy or a bit hush-hushy, not much light on.
A little bit uncomfortable to talk about, maybe.
A little bit uncomfortable, yes.
A little bit uncomfortably political. We do like to get a little bit uncomfortably political, don't we?
We are both...
Push the boundaries.
Push the envelope, please. We are both very fucking opinionated. And maybe we should also put out there that these opinions do not reflect the opinions of educated people.
Totally.
No, that's unfair. We're tertiary educated. We know what we're doing.
They come from an Australian education too. I want to put that out there. Australian education is different to other parts of the world. It's
exactly.
It's unique.
And it's going to be influenced by wine. So it's just us having a chat. If we do offend, we're sorry. Don't hold it against us. We're just stupid bitches.
We are stupid bitches. And you know, if we do offend, like Sean
send us an email.
Yeah. Let us know. Tell us why we're wrong. We love to hear why we're wrong, by the way. That is one of our favourite things.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't everyone?
To be told why we're a stupid bitch.
Because when we get complaints from our very many listeners, that'll help lay the foundations for our taboo topics. Because you think we offended you then, just wait till that 5th Friday.
Yeah, where we get uncomfortable. Just wait for that.
That's right. All right. So should we commence? Do you want me to go first? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. No. I feel like, so guys, we have 2 topics, which we talked about in the intro, and Survivor is the first one, and then the second one is the undoing, and I'll go into a bit of detail if people don't know what that means. But Survivor is going to probably take up the most of our conversation because we are invested. I'll say that. Again, Sean, a lot more than myself. He would say, I'd say he's an expert, not just a fan.
Yes. What's the word?
You could be a professor in a uni if that was the subject, teaching Survivor.
I could, but you know, like, so I've been invested in Survivor since episode 2 of season 1, but we'll get to that. But the first seasons, about probably the first 10, 15, maybe in the first 20 actually, defo professor. The ones after that, I watch, of course, but I'm not as schooled, I guess.
Oh, really? That surprises me. Well, I feel like you're the total guru.
I do know shit.
You could write the Wikipedia page, almost.
I know. Well, some of that, actually, so a bit of a brush with fame. There's a Survivor medic that was involved in about 10 seasons, and Ramona Salins, and of the US version. And she's actually a doctor that trained with the college that I work with, and I got to meet her. And of course, we always start talking Survivor, and I'm just like, oh, and what about this? And what about that? And what about when this happened? And she's like, oh yeah, that was this season, that season. I'm like, yeah, no, you're wrong. And she actually worked on the show. So it's a bit hard to hold that shit back after you've corrected her 7 times.
And usually you've had a wine, because these are like the social functions for the college, aren't they?
That's right.
He's had a couple of reds, people. He's had a couple of reds.
And in Ramona's defense, as she said, they all blend into one and they film back to back. So it's a bit difficult, but not for me. All right. So anyway, let's first off, to get the ball rolling, let's talk about this current season of Australian Survivor.
Yes.
So we're currently down to the final 3 contenders. We've got George.
And who were they? Sorry, you were going to say. Yeah, go.
That's all right. We've got George, the cockroach from Bankstown.
Oh,
we've got
cockroach.
Flick, the big wave surfer, and Hayley, Queen Hayley, my favourite. Oh, you don't know?
Oh, look, I loved her. I have loved her, and I think she's played very well. Her cockiness has got to me, and I know we always have a differing opinion on this. You love how people take control of the game and are ruthless and just,
strategic. Yeah.
Yes. Look, I like the strategy. The ruthlessness, to me, I don't love, but I also recognise it's part of the game. So
and it's how they get there too. Yeah.
My favourite Hayley moment was when they merged. And sorry to jump ahead because I know we're talking about this week's, was when she said to the newly formed merge, she turned around, they were brawn heavy, and she said, look, I'm going to level with you. I've got an idol. if I play it, you've all got like a 50% chance of
yes.
going home because of the
Yeah.
odds, and she'd done the numbers, and she just thought, number one, they didn't really understand what she was talking about from a mathematical position. They were like, huh? She sounds like she knows what she was right. She was 100% accurate, but they didn't really know. And then that just, they crumbled. That was excellent. I applaud her for that. But do I want her to win?
So who do you want to win out of those three?
I actually wanted Cara to win, but she left last week. They axed George and Cara turned on each other. So,
which was also exceptional gameplay due to Hayley.
Yes,
she was a surefire goner.
There's no doubt. She's exceptional at what she's doing. I can't disagree with you there. I have to say, and look, it's not the mum card, and sorry if this offends anyone. It's not because of the tragedy that she's experienced. I think it's Flick for me.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No offense, Flick, because I know Flick's going to be listening.
I think that she's just been really cool the whole way through. She's a nice girl, and that's, you know me, that really gets me. I like a really good, all-rounded, do the right thing. I love her.
Yeah.
And Tyler thinks
I do get what you're saying.
She has a lovely backside. I'll give her that. She has a lovely backside.
Caboose. She does carry her caboose well.
Gorgeous.
She my problem with Flick is that she didn't play really the game at the beginning. She only sort of came through after the merge of two tribes into one. And even still, like, there's been many tribal councils where Flick's tried to have control, where she wanted to vote out Simon, I think it was, and that didn't go through, where she wanted, I think she was going for Emmett at the beginning, and that didn't go through. But more so in the last, from the final five, where she should have been the one that was able to drive those tribal councils and have it go her way. She won immunity at final five. No, she had that hidden immunity idol at final five. But George was one step ahead of her, knowing that she was going to play that and vote for him. So he changed the vote onto Way, and him and Cara voted Way. So they took control of that vote. And then in the final four, when she won immunity and she was going to go for Hayley, if she'd stuck with George, she probably would have got George out. But she wanted to go for Hayley because she didn't think she'd beat her in the final challenge. And Hayley was able to get George and Cara to turn on each other. And Hayley actually controlled that vote. So for me, when it comes to outwit, she has definitely not shown that. She's outlasted, and she's been good in challenges. She's outplayed. But Hayley, to me, she's outwit, she's outplayed, and she's outlasted.
Yeah.
But George as well. You know, George is like, he's not, I don't know.
Been on the bottom every single time. Yeah. Everyone wants him gone every time.
From the beginning, he was surefire winner, but your hero Cara came in and saved him in that one episode.
But also, let's maybe we should just also add another level to what we're talking about and the reason why we are so obsessed. So there's money riding for us on this game.
Yes.
We play a Survivor Sweeps that Bino had set up. How many years have we been on it for now?
Oh, this
6?
is probably but about 6, if not more, actually.
So it's just how sweeps work. You know, they film video.
Drawn out of a hat. We do a video. Look, we don't want anyone to turn around and go, that was fucking rigged. So we video the draw.
Because we have the kind of friends who will say it's rigged and will really...
This is true.
Really family members. I'd say it's more family members than anything who really have some, concerns with integrity there.
Look, a little from column A and a little from column B, I think. But so anyway, the finale's this Sunday, and it's going to be a cracker, and I can't wait.
But let's go back to the money side of it for us, just so people know. So how much is in the kitty? How much do we stand to win if we take the pot away?
Right. So to get in the sweeps, it's $10. You put your $10 in, your name gets drawn out of a hat, a survivor gets thrown out of a hat, that's your person. If your survivor wins, it's a winner takes all of $240. Can you believe it?
Guys, that's amazing, right?
And it sits in my bank account for 8 weeks getting interest. And so I'm the real winner in the end.
And also because Vinny's won it twice, hasn't he? That's Sean's partner.
Vinny's won it once. Yeah, so it's
Have you
up.
won
So no, look, I'm lucky if I make the merge.
I got final 3 last year. I got down to final 3. I got final 5 this year. But I never thought one would win this year. Last year I thought I had a good shot. This year I knew I didn't have a shot.
Yeah.
Mine
So
couldn't swim. She could not swim, bless her heart. Sorry, Way, if you ever hear this, I apologise, but she
I
couldn't
know.
swim.
Oh well, look, she did win an immunity. She did do us
She
proud
did.
in one episode.
I'll tell you what, puzzles, mate. She was
Oh, killer.
exceptional at puzzles.
Yeah.
She killed. There just wasn't always a
She
puzzle. Or she couldn't get to the puzzle because it was the last part of the challenge.
Or
and
you
she
had
couldn't
to
make it
swim to
there.
get to the first part. She's like, I'm out, guys.
I know, bless her.
I know. Well, my one was Chelsea this season, who was like a non-entity during the game, which is kind of shit on Australia, the production side of it.
I love Chelsea. I had a bit of a soft spot for her. I thought she had an amazing resting bitch face. I thought
Totally.
the look on her face all the time, I was like, that. I don't know, that's not her, but it just, I loved her facial expressions, loved them. I was sad when she left.
Well, she just disappeared one episode and because she couldn't balance or something. So that was my $10 down the drain.
She's proper sick though, wasn't she? Because
She was
Georgia
proper
came
sick.
back.
Yes, they had that 24-hour window thing. But do you know what happened with Georgia? Do you know why she was sick?
She had an ectopic pregnancy. I read
Yes.
it. Yes.
I
So
know.
but they sent her back and she didn't know that she had the ectopic pregnancy. Again, listeners, if I'm wrong on this, please correct me. But I believe that they thought it was a stomach bug. She felt a bit okay. They sent her back. And then it was after she left the game that she found out that she had an ectopic pregnancy.
They do the full medical review and everything.
They're really dangerous. They can 100% kill you.
Yes, because it was making its way through the womb wall or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're really dangerous. So she's, quite lucky to get away with her health.
Yes, exactly. I know. Look, Survivor, it's real, people. Don't tell me that shit's scripted.
Don't you just want to go on it to lose like 30 kilos too? Because
that is the main reason I go
how
on it.
skinny are some of them? Cara, when she left, and she was not a big woman, she was, very lovely body, but by the end, she was skin and bones, nearly.
I know. She was smoking in that leather jacket, wasn't she, at every fucking TC, though?
So pretty. I think that she's so naturally pretty, Cara. But Danny lost so much weight. Oh, my gosh. And
George even. Like, you look at the production photos from the beginning, and you're seeing George's face. So anyway, we digress.
Yeah. And I have to say one more thing. I'm so shallow that one of my favorite parts of watching Survivor is actually seeing how much weight they all lose towards the end. I do love it. Because every time the episode
it's inspirational.
And I'm like, look how skinny they are now. Oh my God. Like Gerald, he also lost a lot of weight. The milk farm boy, he lost a lot of weight. Anyway, yes, we digress. Let's move on.
All right. So we're going to talk about Survivor in general as well now. And seeing as we're about to embark on the 41st season of the US version in a couple of weeks, I thought we'd have a chat about Survivor as a whole and how it's gone over the last 20 fucking years.
Bring it.
I know. So I remember when Survivor was first airing back in 2000, late 2000, and it was around the same time. This is before fucking Netflix and all that shit. So you had about 5 channels to choose from. Mm-hmm. And Shipwrecked, which was the UK.
Olden days, guys. Super, super olden
days. 21 years ago.
Fuck, did you say 21 years for Survivor running?
Yeah, it was started in 2000.
What the fuck?
I know. Look, that's
now I feel old. I was joking before. Now I actually feel.
They have the strongest fan base. It's kept it going. But anyway, so I remember UK were releasing this show called Shipwrecked. And for those who don't know, that's where they just plop a whole heap of people on the island. They don't actually do challenges or anything. It comes down, they have to survive so many weeks. People just bail when they've had enough.
Is this the UK one?
Yeah, it's not Survivor though. It's called Shipwrecked. It's like a reality show.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Where people can fall in love. There's not tribes or anything like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but they was doing Shipwrecked and Survivor was coming out at the same time. They were airing at the same date and same time slot, different channels.
Okay.
And at that stage, I remember knowing that Survivor had a price tag of $1 million, Shipwrecked didn't. And I was like, oh, that's just America fucking beefing it up. I'm not going to fall into that capitalism bullshit. And then I didn't watch the first episode.
Oh my God, that's a quote and a half. I totally just quote you on that one.
I didn't want to watch it, so I didn't watch the first episode. And then I heard people talking about how they did challenges and they voted people off, and I'm like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? And so then
You put your eggs in the wrong basket.
I did. And so I started from episode 2, season 1, and I have not missed a single episode since. And also I have gone back and revisited season 1, episode 1. I've watched some of the seasons multiple times. Anyway, so the difference in gameplay from the first season back in 2000 to now is evidenced during the birth of alliances. And in the first season, everyone wanted to play fair. So there was tribes when they merged, voting out the person that they didn't think deserved to be there and all this shit. And Richard Hatch sort of paved the way for what the current gameplay of Survivor is today in forming alliances.
Mm-hmm.
So they say that he formed alliances, and it was seen as a really dirty thing. Even the players didn't like the idea of alliances in season 1. But actually, if you watch it, Sue Hawk, Kelly Wigglesworth, and Stacey Stillman were the ones who actually really formed the first alliance. They formed a girls' alliance. It didn't hold.
After 21 years, you still know their names. Oh my
yeah.
God, you have a memory like a crazy person.
Especially for the first seasons of it. Like now I couldn't tell you who was in last season or anything. But yeah, so, and what happened was when it got to the merge and the two tribes merged as one, it was 5-5, which would be now, it'd be the teams would stick together and try and get a handle over the other tribe to try and get the numbers and move forward. And that's what they did. There was a group of 4 that stuck together in the original one: Richard Hatch, Sue Hawk, Rudy, and oh my God, Kelly Wigglesworth, who was a fan fave. And they voted out the other tribe, Pagong, and it actually coined the phrase pagonging. And it's in the dictionary. I don't know if it's Merriam-Webster, but it's in the dictionary that pagonging is taking out a group of people one by one, which is what they did.
Oh.
Yeah. And
I haven't heard of pagonging. Okay, so I'm showing my Survivor, what's the word I'm looking for here? Inexpertise.
That's right. Very good word.
But guys, I'm not a rookie, okay? So
she is a fan.
My friendship with Sean pretty much has spanned a lot of years, and it has always revolved in some form around conversations about Survivor.
Well, I mean,
and
they do
eventually he got me
a year.
on board. But I was never on board in the beginning, and I'm like that sometimes. He really has to persevere to get me to come over to his way of thinking sometimes. But he got me there in the end.
Exactly, I did.
Finger guns.
Took 10 years, but bitch is there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Pagong was the actual name of the tribe that the Alliance of 4 took out, and that's why they call it Pagonging.
They don't say that in Australia, though, do they? I haven't really heard that term a lot in the Australian Survivor, or have I? And I've just missed it.
No, and this is way back in the beginning. So since, and we'll talk about this later as well, but since gameplay's evolved, it doesn't happen now generally where one tribe will just stick together from start to end. Mm-hmm. And this is before they did tribe shuffles to try and mix everything up.
They did in Brains and Brawn, though. They were very much about going Brawn strong, which was unsuccessful. It ended up being Brain strong. Yeah. And they did come together in that way. And
that was Emmett's game plan, and that was his downfall. He was just like 100%. Rigid, wouldn't move over it. Yeah.
Emmett was excellent at challenges, but he was a dummy. Sorry, Emmett, if you ever listen to this. But
I think a lot of the Brawns were actually, and that's how the Brains got it up on him. But I mean, no, that's not fair. Danny was pretty brain cluey, and Simon, I think, had a bit of brain in him, except for when he revealed he had 2 idols. But anyway. Back in the first season, alliances were really seen as dirty. And I remember Richard Hatch was this huge villain in the show, and Kelly Wigglesworth was a hero. And they were the ones who ended up being the final 2. Yeah. Everyone was rooting for Kelly Wigglesworth. Everyone loved her, wanted her to win. But the villain won by 1 vote. And I don't know if you ever remember during that final tribal council as well, Sue Hawk gave that rats and snakes speech, because Kelly stabbed her in the back and voted her out. And it was like, it's quoted as one of the best speeches of all time as well. She talks about how the snake eats a rat and Kelly was a rat and Richard was a snake and blah, blah, blah.
So the villain won, but Kelly got called out for being.
Right. Yeah, because she voted out Sue. And not many people liked Sue. So what happened when Sue gave that speech is a lot of the people who were originally going to vote for Richard were mortified by the speech that Sue gave. They changed their vote to Kelly. But she still lost 3-4. And many fans actually believe that if Richard didn't win that first season, the show wouldn't be as popular as it is today, as it broke through with that whole thing of the villain actually winning and not this, typical storyline of the good guy winning. So, so it just made it is polarizing the right word? I don't know. It just made the whole thing a bit shook up. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Yeah. And everyone hated alliances. But then from season 2 onwards, alliances were essential. And that is when they did that full thing where you started on one tribe, you stuck with the people on that tribe and you voted everyone out when you got to the merge. There was no flexibility.
Unless you're in the minority and they dog you. Yeah.
So it became a bit boring in that sense. So it wasn't until season 6 when people really started flipping with Rob Sesternino and Survivor Amazon, and he paved the way then for it being okay to not stick to that. If it meant that you're going to get yourself further in the game, it's okay to flip sides.
Well,
and that's what happened.
This is the current season, right? This is what's happening with George. Like I have repeatedly said to my partner, I'd want to sit next to George. I wouldn't want to sit next to Flick, which is why Hayley wants Flick gone, which is, you're right. She's very good at what she's doing. And she managed to come back from Exile Island. She went up against Baden.
Yep.
Baden was never going to win her against her in the challenges anyway, because he was not great at challenges for a bicyclist.
For a pro athlete.
He did the Tour de France, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tour de France.
Among others, there was other things that he had done in cycling?
I'm sure there's other tracks he's ridden, competitions.
No,
me neither. Get off the fucking road.
Sorry, guys.
There's a bike lane. Use it, for fuck's sake.
No, totally.
Our taboo topic is cyclists.
Yeah, and also, what about Emmett's pants, his bike pants, the whole way? Ew.
They were very revealing.
Just ew, and they got so dirty because they were yellow.
Right,
like some of the outfit choices this season were just like, why? I remember, I think it was Kez said at one point, she was like, I can't believe I didn't bring any warm clothes because she froze those first couple of nights.
Yeah.
Was it Kez? Do you remember that? Because she came in with a crop top and bike pants, and I think that's pretty much all she brought. She might have brought one jacket or something, but she was freezing the entire time, and I was like, oh my God, you silly girl.
Yes,
Rack up.
Does it? Maybe on the day, but nighttime she get chilly.
Yeah, you can take a couple of outfits, right? Some of them seem to have 3 or 4 outfits.
Yes.
Some warm stuff, some cool stuff,
And our season and our version of Survivor is like 50 days or 49 days or something, so it's a lot longer. So they are allowed to take more clothes.
In the fucking Australian outback. I couldn't survive a day out there. I'm Australian. I couldn't survive a day. The whole time we were watching it, I kept saying to Tyler, I'd just be a mess. I'd be out. I'd be glad to be voted out. I'd probably just leave. In some of the other ones where they're on the beach and it's lovely and they've got this beautiful water and stuff like that and the tranquility and all that.
Tropical, yeah.
But in the Australian outback, that's brutal stuff, man.
Yes. Yes, it's not a water hole you can fucking
die
use.
out there.
Yeah. Be careful of the crocodiles, people. Yeah, no, it's crazy. We'll touch on some of the controversies. So over 20 years, you could imagine that there have been some controversial moments in Survivor over 40 seasons. So I'll go through a couple of those. Some of them are just a little bit like, and then some of them are pretty fucking big doozies, actually. So we'll start off with season 1. This is when the question of how the scripting of Survivor and all that stuff came into question. There was a contestant called Stacey Stillman, who was the 3rd person voted out of season 1. And she claimed after the show that the producers actually interfered with the gameplay by persuading 2 of her tribe mates, Dirk and Sean, to instead of putting their votes on Rudy, who was a retired Navy SEAL and fan favorite, who they knew was going to be a fan favorite. He was over 70 years old at the time of filming, and it was very much like that grumpy old man. They got excellent footage out of. So they allegedly convinced these 2 players to, instead of voting Rudy, to strengthen the tribe, to put their votes on Stacey instead.
Right.
And one of them has since confirmed that happened. Yes. And Rudy, and back in 2000 as well, things were a bit more, what's the word? So when you were like filming on TV, they weren't as PC. So he was over 70,
So PC now.
retired Navy SEAL, where he would give homophobic statements, and as long as he doesn't touch me, I don't care. And about the big, because Richard Hatch was gay, but his best friend in the show was the gay guy. My friends are going to give me so much shit about this, and stuff like that. And also during that season, it's interesting because there was lines like, the fat naked fag with $1 million. And stuff talking about Richard, who used to like to get his gear off, was used in reference to him, and who was the eventual winner, or as he described himself, a fat naked fag with $1 million. But anyway, the case was settled outside of court. And since then, I think that they've obviously really made sure that there has been no involvement from production with the castaways and what they're doing, because it could bring the show down. Yeah. But in the first season, they want to make sure the first season's a hit, which it was.
Yeah,
it was huge.
Of course.
They obviously maybe had said a couple of things. In season 2, a little bit of a controversy was one of the runner-up of the season, Colby Donaldson, won a reward challenge, and this was filmed in the Australian Outback. And his reward was him and the season villain Jerry Manthe got to go on a tour to the Great Barrier Reef, and got to do activities and shit. And during a diving activity, Colby went down and broke all these pieces of living coral reef as souvenirs for the tribe mates, which is actually illegal. And the CBS.
So was this an American season filmed in Australia?
Yeah, their second season was filmed in the Australian Outback.
Oh my God, anyone who's Australian knows how wrong that is. But if you didn't live here, you wouldn't understand how protected it is, and unless they had conversations about it. Exactly. And what year was it?
This was in at the beginning of 2001.
Oh, that hurts my heart, hearing that. But I can understand why.
He wasn't aware.
Of course. 100%. And he thought, I'm just going to take this back. It's a souvenir, and this
it'll grow back.
Beautiful place.
I know. It's like chipping out a piece of the fucking pyramids in Cairo. It's my friend. So pretty. But
it's exactly like that.
But CBS eventually was fined $100,000 for the incident in the end.
From Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably getting off light. Now the fines would be 1,000 times worse. Like if you did that this day and age.
Well, global warming and all that shit. We've got 1 square meter of living coral left.
Jail. They'd end up in jail if they did that. Like proper.
It'd be full on. Yeah. Jumping ahead to season 7, it was when we had Johnny Fairplay. He graced our screens in Survivor for the first time. So this is when Survivor had started bringing in family members to the reward challenge as part of the reward for the game. And whoever won got to spend time with their loved one. And when they brought in Johnny's loved one, who was a close friend of his, he said to him, "Oh, how's grandma?" And his friend's like, "She died, dude." And then they were like, "Oh my God." And they're like, "Hey, what's happened?" And he had to say, yeah, his grandma died because his grandma was meant to be there, but she died. And so she couldn't be there.
Stop it. So they didn't totally take advantage of that the way they do in Australian Survivor, where they make a big deal out of it and bring in the family members and shit. And it's really awful.
Emotional and shit, yeah. And so because the tribe had heard this and they're all mortified for him, so they basically ended up giving the challenge away so Johnny could win and spend time with his friend and find out more about his grandma and blah, blah, blah. And then you find out 2 minutes later that he was lying. It was all a ruse just so he could win the game. And he's like, my grandma's back home watching Jerry Springer. She's fine. So he completely fabricated the whole story just to get sympathy.
Oh, that's why they didn't show it up and get ratings out of it. Oh my God.
No, but it was funny because that season's winner, who was Sandra Diaz-Twine, she didn't believe his bullshit. And so when everyone else was giving up their ghost for him, she's like, "No, fuck it." And they're like, "How could you? His grandma just died." And then she's the one who's walking away going, "Yeah, bullshit."
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting.
People would do anything, wouldn't they? Oh my God, I would never sleep at night if I had lied about something like that.
Imagine if something did happen to grandma.
It's not even that. It's just I could never live with myself.
Not that big anyway. Yeah, that's a big.
No.
but it was a good way.
Oh, you're saying that you could do a small white lie. Is that what you're saying? You can do some white lies.
Totally. I couldn't bring death into it, though, because I'd be like, where the fuck is this karma going to come from? So slap me in the face. But he ended up making final 3 of that season, and he was the first person to ever bring in outside influence to help him secure a challenge and manipulate the game.
Okay.
So this is where we get a bit more sort of controversial. Okay, so coming up now to some of the more recent seasons. In season 34, this was a bit of a doozy. This is a big one, this one. So it was an all-returnees season, and it had some awesome characters in it, especially third-time player Jeff Varner, who was originally in season 2 of the Australian Outback. He got voted out right before the jury. He made the merge, got voted out before the jury. He came in the season just before this one, called Second Chances. Everyone loved him. He got voted out again early in the game. People really want to see him do well because they loved his character and all this stuff. He came back into Game Changers, and he was doing well, but his legacy is he's never made the jury, and he was voted out, as I said, pre-merge into Second Chances, and due to some tribe shuffles in this game, it wasn't looking good for him. So in this new tribe, he was on the bottom of the poll again. They were about to go to fucking tribal council just before the merge, and it was evident his number was up.
Yeah.
So they lost the challenge, and at tribal council, Jeff Varner attempted to save his game and himself by accusing fellow castaway Zeke Smith of being a liar. And one of his claims of defense was asking Zeke in front of all of his tribe mates why he'd not told any of them that he was transgender. So it was, and like the tribe it was not the reaction he was expecting. The tribe were like, well, he thought people knew. But while we knew from the previous season, which hadn't aired while they were filming this, Zeke hadn't come out at that stage as transgender. So he was kind of forced to. He was a gay man. He's a gay trans man. So, so he tried to accuse him of being a liar and used that, well, why haven't you told them you're transgender? Which is not lying. It's none of your fucking business. And so Zeke, who was not openly out to everyone in his life or his tribe, was blindsided by Jeff's word, and the rest of the tribe was shocked by Jeff outing Zeke on national television.
And he was a favourite before that. Everyone loved him.
All the people loved him, yeah. And they didn't even go to vote. They just did a verbal vote and got him out of the game. And Jeff later apologised for his actions and any pain he caused Zeke. And Jeff's a gay man, so he knows the whole thing about outing people and all that shit. I know. And he was ultimately fired from his job following the airing of the episode. It was.
Did he know it from his personal interactions outside of the game, or did he just know from secret or a conversation that they'd had in the game?
I think he knew. He didn't have a conversation with him. I think he knew because you could see little scars from where the breast removal had been.
Yes, so he outed him based on a guess.
And Jeff would know a lot of people in the trans community and all that stuff. And then he does say, like, I feel terrible. I thought people knew, blah, 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 and all this shit. He thought it was out, but he had no right to out anyone. It was disgusting. So that was so
hurtful.
And personal, yeah. And then finally, my final controversy for you. So this is another big one. So Dan Spilo, and this was in season 39. Season 40 was Winners at War, which was the last season we've seen. So 2 seasons ago, Dan Spilo was the first contestant to ever be removed from the game by production due to their behaviour. So the merge episode of season 39 featured a storyline in which MBA student Kelly Kim is apprehensive about being reunited with her former tribe mate Dan due to his previous inappropriate touching of her and other female contestants on the show. So
in a different season?
No, in that season.
Right.
So they were together, then the tribes got shuffled, and then they were merging again, and she was like a bit apprehensive about having to be around him again. So she's shown as being emotionally distraught in a confessional where a producer asks if she's okay. In the same episode, Kelly was eliminated from the game with 2 idols in a pocket, poor bitch, targeted for trying to vote out Dan. So despite her vocalization of Dan's abusive behavior, he was kept in the game, and fellow contestant Janet was isolated for speaking out against him following Kelly's elimination. On day 36, and there's only 39 days in the game, Dan was removed from the game due to additional inappropriate due to an additional inappropriate incident, which was off-screen. And he was subsequently banned from the show's jury and reunion. There's been a lot of controversy about the way that the production handled Dan's behaviours by allowing him to continue after there were numerous complaints, and also how they had to step in at one point to tell him, hey, or tell people as a whole, no touchy, and also, and
because they see everything.
They see everything.
Because they see everything. So what Kelly had said
was true.
They would have seen it. They would know if it's not true or true. So if she felt that it was enough for her to be, a victim. Oh my God.
Well, ultimately, and she gets voted out because she tries to bring it up. And so it's a bit of the whole yucky scenario. And Jeff Probst actually then apologised at the reunion about the fact that they didn't do enough. She gives this great speech at the reunion episode about it. It's around the Me Too movement is going on at this stage. He works in entertainment. I think he works in casting and stuff like that. So it's definitely Me Too. Yeah. So, but yeah, there were numerous complaints about allowing him to continue on. And that was 2019, I think. But also, just one more bonus one. In season 5 of Thailand, which was in 2002, one of the contestants, Gandhi, complained to her tribe mates that her fellow tribe mate Ted was grinding up against her while they were sleeping. She calls him out. She gets voted out. 2002. It's all good back then. You're allowed to do that.
Oh my.
So that's my Survivor shield. That actually went on for a lot longer than I was expecting. I think we might have to cull some of that shit out.
That's okay. I didn't know there was that many. You love a good controversy though, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
And that was really interesting. I was like, what? Oh my God, how do I not know this? There's so many things.
And now we've got Survivor Season 41 starting in a couple of weeks. What else can happen?
You're going to make me watch it, aren't you?
Well, I think you're going to watch it just because you're hooked.
So where's it streaming on? Is it on one of our local channels?
Yeah, so it goes on to 9Go.
Right.
Yeah,
so you're going to do a sweeps for it?
Look, I think I'm just going to stick to the Australian Survivor for the sweeps.
Fair enough.
It's not a lot of work. It's just like...
Sweeps make it interesting, though.
I know, but I think we're going to do another Australian Survivor soon. It's just one of those... If you keep doing it, it's just constantly going to be a fucking Survivor sweep, Mm-hmm. Get people excited about it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's fair. But I realised when I looked, so I washed my hair this afternoon, so I've got proper dreads in the front, which I don't know if you can see them or not, but I have to say, if this video ever does get aired, that in my defence, I'm in week 85,000 of lockdown. So, any type of personal grooming is gone out the window. I washed my hair today. For the first time in 2 weeks because it was starting to reek a little bit, and I had worn it in a constant bun. So I washed it out of hygiene. Not the greys and the roots are just despicable. So why brush it and make it look nice when it's so disgusting? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
fuck that.
That's my
reasoning.
But
you do brush your underarm hairs, though, don't you?
They're pretty much Tyler said to me, it's like, they're so bad. And I was like, hey, yours are worse for starters. When you're in lockdown, there's
and
no
when you're in love.
Point.
Who gives a fuck?
Well, I just want to go to the fucking pub. I just want to see my cousin and my best friends and just be like, I just want to hug them and just fucking...
How many weeks is it for you guys now? Really?
I've lost count, but it was been since about the 20-ish of June. Somewhere in that 20th week of June. Let's just move on. No. All right. So the undoing, I do not have the level of research that Bino put through. There is no controversy from my perspective when it comes to the undoing. Actually, I think I've made notes, but I can't find them. Okay. I'll just act like people who are listening know what's going to happen, because I don't want to be like, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
We can.
I mean, it's been out for a while, so watch it, bitches.
Okay, I totally forgot what the book is called, because what really...
Oh, so the book's not called The Undoing?
No, the book is called You Should Have Known.
Oh.
And in the book, the main character, which is played by Nicole Kidman in the series, and you've seen the series. So for people listening, I've read the book first when it was a series, and I knew that it was a series. I've read the book, then saw the TV show within about maybe 2 hours of finishing the book.
Oh,
I
wow.
had to see, like, I literally finished it about like 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, I'm going to totally watch the show tonight. Like, it was there. You'd already told me it was amazing. Tyler's mom had told me it was amazing. So I was like, I have to watch the show now. And I have a love-hate relationship with Nicole Kidman. I mostly hate her. I just have never been a fan. But I tell you what, she totally changed my mind in Big Little Lies. You've seen Big Little Lies, right?
Oh, brilliant.
But have you seen the second season? I've never seen the second season. That's
I have. Not as
read
good.
The book too. Well, see, I read the book, loved the book, and then I was jumping on the whole bandwagon with Reese Witherspoon at the time. Like, I'd read the book before it came out, with Reese Witherspoon saying it was the most amazing book ever, and she had the rights to the show.
Produced by women, all woman run.
Yes,
I love that.
It was.
Look how giant your hand is.
People, in reality, I'm actually quite petite.
She has a Hulk hand.
I don't have a very small head, actually.
Hulk's no hand.
My friends say I have tiny little T-Rex
Put your
arms.
hand forward.
Anyway.
Hulk smash.
Hulk smash. I'll smash the cupcakes. Ready? Smash. You're distracting me.
I'm sorry. So you've seen the show and you read the book.
Yes.
Is there much difference? You know how like always the book's 1,000 times better?
Yes. And that's what I was leading into. So what I was leading into was the fact that, first of all, when I went into Goodreads, which I'm a massive, because we've talked about the fact that the whole reason we're doing this podcast is there's certain things that we are obsessed with: music, TV, books, wine, obviously. So I'm a massive book person. I'm a massive Goodreads person. So as soon as I finish a book, within the first 5 minutes, usually I'm on Goodreads. I'm rating it. I'm writing a review. I like to catalog my books.
Skye is also an author, a published author, by the way,
Yes.
single writer. If
Yes.
you haven't read it, get on it.
Self-published, guys, don't get too excited.
It's still a fucking good book.
Oh, thanks.
Miss May is my fave.
Yes, it's everyone's fave. But I'm a massive Goodreads person. So anyway, so when I went to search the book on Goodreads to log my review, because I actually didn't rate the book, it was okay. Like, I liked it. I enjoyed it. The beginning, I nearly actually put it down and didn't pick it back up. The beginning was very dry, very wordy. It was from Nicole Kidman's character in the show's perspective. She's very entitled, wealthy, but there's wealthier people, so she's I'm not as wealthy as other people, but I do okay. And she's just the kind of person that I'd probably really hate in real life. The character, I mean, not the Kidman. Yeah. So I was a bit like, I've read maybe 7 chapters, and I was like, ugh, I just can't get into it. I don't really like it. I'm not interested. And then it turned a corner. Something happened. I can't remember exactly what turned the corner for me, but something happened. And I was like, oh, I'm in it. I'm going to keep pushing through it. I'm going to persevere. And once I did, I persevered, and it was good. But I think my Goodreads official rating out of 5 was, I gave it a 4, but I wrote in the comments that it was actually a solid 3.5. You can't give a half rating in Goodreads.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
They put it in the comments. So I had a 3.5.
You rounded it up.
Yeah, but when I went to search for it, I found it under the Undoing, but it was doing this weird thing where it was like saying this link isn't here or something in Goodreads, which Goodreads is normally like legit, like books, my book's on there, and I'm not like a book that's produced by a production company. You know, I've self-published my book.
Collins.
Mills and Boon.
Mills and Boons.
A little bit of sexy time.
That's right.
So then I found out that it was called You Should Have Been Known, because when I brought the book,
what was it called? Sorry.
You Should Have Known.
Ah.
So when I brought the book, it had the movie tie-in cover, which I also hate. I hate having to do that, but
Yes, I know what you mean. Harry Potter, great example.
Yeah, if I wanted to buy the original cover, it was about $20 more on Book Depository than the movie tie-in. So fuck it, I'll just get it.
Totally.
Get it full time. So that's why it was still called The Undoing. So I was quite shocked after that. I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that they changed the title of the book and to the title of the show. That just bothered me. Anyway, But the differences between the book and the show were significant. Ultimately, the ending quite similar, but Tyler and I watched the show together, and there was times where, if you've seen the show, and I'm very, very sorry if you haven't, because I'm going to give you some spoilers, Hugh Grant is ultimately the bad guy, really bad guy. But in the book,
you don't know that, do you? Like, through the journey,
exactly.
You're like, is it him? Is it not him? No, he wouldn't.
Exactly. And he plays such a great character. There was times when I thought it was a little bit wishy-washy until the end, when she's on the stand and she basically sets him up, but says it in a way he knows she's fucked him on purpose. She knows that. But
what happens again? I can't remember.
So she starts talking about she talks about a conversation that she'd had with his mother, and he'd always talked about a dog that had died, that had gotten hit by a car, but it turned out it was actually his sister. And she sort of gave them some little steps into it, which meant that they dragged that thread, and then in the end she basically said enough to incriminate him in other ways. And then the camera switches to Hugh Grant at this one point where what she said is completely fucked him, and the look on his face, I thought that acting in that crucial point, because the whole point, the whole show, you don't believe that it's him, and you're rooting for him. You're rooting for her because she supports him. You're rooting for him because you don't think he did it, because they both love that child, and their world seems to revolve around the kid. So you're rooting for the family. You're like, nah, he can't do it. He's been framed. Someone else is responsible. In the book, you know pretty much straight away, without any of the evidence falling into place, that he's done the dodge. He never comes back. Yeah, so he never leaves a note. He never comes back. You know how he finds her in the beach house in the show, and then he goes on trial. He never faces trial in the book. It's a story of her coming to terms with the fact that he fucked her life over, and her accepting that he did it piece by piece as it all falls into place.
He's a surgeon, isn't he?
He's a surgeon, yeah. And so she can't believe it in the beginning, because she has this perfect life and this perfect family and everything, and the evidence just builds and builds and builds against him till she can't deny it any longer. And
does he have anything to do with the sister getting hit by the car, or did that just fuck him over?
No. So in the movie, in the TV show, he was negligent, really, is what they say. So, but he should have been looking after him when he wasn't, and then she never showed remorse. He never was upset about it, and he always sort of resented the child.
His sister.
In the books, it's a little boy, but it's similar. She doesn't get hit by a car, but he was supposed to look after the kid. He was sick with the flu. He was supposed to keep him in the house, and it was the middle of winter, and he let the kid go out and play in the yard, and the kid died from pneumonia, who was already very sick. And the parents had this wedding they had to go to, and they're only gone for a couple of hours, and that's how it is in the book. So the family know that he's a psycho, and that's why he kept her away from them, which is the same as the show. But it's very different to the books. And to be honest, I loved the show. Fucking loved the show. I thought it was very, very good. But the book, again, it was 3.5. And
so what would you give the show out of 5?
I wouldn't give it 5.
And you can give half marks.
I'm going to say it's a 4, closing in on a 4.5. It's not a 5 out of 5.
Solid 4.
Ted Lasso, on the other hand, if we could talk about Ted Lasso, which we're not going to, I'm not going to, but Ted Lasso is a fucking 5 if anyone's seen that. It's amazing. I love Ted Lasso.
Is that a show or a movie?
No, it's the show on iTunes with the guy, Jason Sudeikis.
I know the guy who's in it. Yeah, he's from The Hangover and shit, isn't he?
It is, no, you're thinking of the other one who looks a bit like him. And I'm thinking of Ed Helms. Is it Ed Helms? Yeah, I think so. You're thinking of Ed Helms. Jason Sudeikis is in Sleeping with Other People, one of my all-time favourite movies.
Never seen.
What else is he in? The one with Jennifer Aniston where they go in the bus across the country and they've got all the drugs.
Yeah.
That one.
What, like
Meet the Millers. Meet the Millers.
Meet the Millers.
Where the Millers. Sorry,
Where the Millers.
Yeah. But he's in others. He's in other stuff that you'd know him in. Anyway, so yeah,
Yeah.
I'd give it a 4 leading into a 4.5, but the book was nowhere near as great as
Oh, that's good.
Which good never really happens.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good that finally a TV show is actually better than the book.
And did you know that the song, the intro song, and I knew this, I picked it up, I didn't have to research it, but you know it's sung by Nicole Kidman. How long ago did you watch The Undoing?
When it first came out, we were watching a week-by-week release.
So that intro...
I did not know that, but now I can picture the song and I can hear it because it's like when she sang with Robbie Williams.
Yeah, and she also sang on the Baz Luhrmann film. What was the Baz Luhrmann with the Elton John song?
Moulin Rouge.
Oh, I love Moulin Rouge.
Diamond.
I love
We're
that
going
movie.
to see stage show Moulin Rouge in Melbourne on the 20th November, if we can get in.
The 20th of November. Well, we've got fucking Guns N' Roses tickets. That is November.
Shut up.
There's no fucking way they're going to let Guns N' Roses into Australia when we're international. You can't travel in here. Not for that purpose, and not to have a concert in November. I think it's like early November too. It's like of November 10th or something.
Not unless we get to fucking 80% people.
I know. And we need to open the fucking borders first so I can come to Queensland.
I know. Well, 80%, please. Anyway, go on.
Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the level of info that I had on The Undoing. There isn't really a lot. I was hoping that our conversation about The Undoing, your thoughts versus my thoughts, flow. But pretty much you loved it and I loved it.
I did enjoy the TV show. Vinny loved the TV show, husband Vinny. But I can't look. It was a while ago, and I do remember where they're at the beach house or whatever, and they find that the clue was it the weapon that's in the fucking fireplace or the kiln or something. Because you kind of think the kid does it at one point, don't we?
Yes.
Because the kid's a bit of a fucking psycho.
The dad turns around and tells everyone that he's concerned. Hugh Grant says, "Oh my God, I think he's done it." In his moment of playing the good guy, falsely accused, he says, "I think our son's done it," knowing all too well that he did it.
Because Nicole Kidman's father is fucking...
Dennis Sutherland. I love Dennis Sutherland. From Buffy.
He's the ultimate villain from Buffy.
The original Buffy movie, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Watcher. He's not in the TV series. Please. The movie that preceded the TV series, which I love.
Also fucking great.
Yes, I do. I love them both, but I love the movie.
And he hates Hugh in that because he's an uber rich dude and he puts all this money into... Does he put money into protecting Hugh based on Nicole?
He does in the end. So they needed millions of dollars to get him out on bond, which they did. But he could afford it. You could see that he had the money. And in the books, he's quite wealthy too. But he goes to Donald Sutherland's character, Hugh does, and asks for money, and she doesn't know about it. And the book that does happen in the books. He does go to them, and the dad is just so eager to help her because she's so closed off and for herself. But
and is this also when they think that he's brought the son into it, that the grandfather then steps in to try and...
The grandfather starts paying for the lawyers and the bond and stuff before the grandson comes into it. But when the murder weapon is found and the kid put it through the dishwasher,
that's right.
He believed that his dad had done it, and even if he did, he loves his dad so much that he wants to protect him.
And at the end,
and they're like, he's an accessory, so they have to hide it.
And in the end, Hugh gets the kid and drives away with him, doesn't he?
Yes, and tries to go after him. And then he gets on the bridge. And
is he going to jump, or is he going to kill him and the kid?
He's going to jump, but the kid's holding on to him, and he's about to jump, and there's a moment where you think he's going to drag the kid with him, and that's really heartbreaking. Like, I thought that was really emotional, because she can see the panic in her face, like, and you actually think, oh my God, he's the kind of person, because of all the horrible things he's done and actually lied, and just how he's just completely manipulated everything, and just without any sign of anything,
And love her or hate her, she's a
see that
fucking
he
exceptional
kill the
actress.
kid, like drag the kid in with him, and it's just horrible.
Mm.
But then obviously that's not happened, and she's like, please don't do this, and then he gets down because he really loves her and thinks that there's a chance, and then she just grabs the kid and leaves him and takes him.
Totally, yeah. Well, you would at that stage, wouldn't you?
Name.
You'd be like, grab the fucking child, throw
but
yourself
in the
over.
Because
why does he kill the woman why does he kill her in the end?
They she started stalking Nicole Kidman's character.
That's right. And she got her kid into this
school. He paid for it, which is why he went to Nicole Kidman's dad. Different in the book again. But
because the kid's attending this big upper class school based on a scholarship or a scheme or something, isn't it?
That Hugh Grant paid for because the baby's his, so she's got a baby. Baby's his.
That's right.
And then also Hugh Grant was the doctor to the child who goes to the school now goes to that school. So they met each other. He was the doctor. He had some type of rare cancer. They fixed him. He went into remission. He was fucking her the whole time. She fell pregnant with his baby. Yes. She sort of used it as a manipulation she was very attractive though. So, I think he wasn't just there because of the manipulation.
And because she had a great personality.
Yeah. So he said he borrowed money from the dad, put the kid into the private school, and then she started showing up at all the events and wanting to be friends with Nicole Kidman's character. In the book, it starts like that. Like, she pops up a little bit, but then she's dead before there's any even inkling of that.
And he kills her with a sculptor's hammer or something, doesn't he?
Yeah, which is the thing that the kid finds. But again, in the book, you see all the pieces start to come together, and once she realizes it, she goes to the beach house and she sort of builds up her own life and starts to move on a little bit. She reconnects with a friend from high school who stopped hanging out with her because he was such an asshole to the friend, and the friend backed off little by little and could see that the main character was never going to leave him, so they become estranged, and they were best friends since they were kids, and they reconnect, and she finds out all these stories and everything.
Kind of like what Vinny did to me and you, yeah?
Vincent, he's telling lies about you again.
Vinny the murderer.
So in the end, he never appears in the books. He never shows up again. He never calls her. He never hears from her. And in the last couple of chapters, he sends her a letter and says, I'm sorry I haven't contacted you. I'm sorry I've left you with this shit show. I'm not guilty. I didn't do it. I just want to be with you and the child, blah, 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 blah. It's a year or so later, and she's dealt with all the aftermath.
Where does he go?
He goes to some island. They never really say where, I don't think. I can't remember now.
The Caymans.
Somewhere. But it's in a book that they read together in uni, in college. So he says to her, look, I'm at this island, and you'll know it because it's my favourite place from this book that we spoke about in the laundromat one time. So he doesn't say the book, but says something only she'd know. Can you bring the son, Henry, and meet me if you still love me and if you still believe there's a chance I'm innocent. It tells her this big bullshit story about how he's innocent. But the pieces have already been put in place. She already knows he's guilty because there's just too much evidence against him by that point.
So he doesn't sit trial in the book?
No, he doesn't appear in the book at all until the very end, where he sends her this letter. And by that point, she started to move on with her life a little bit. She's met someone new.
Was
the
that
brutality
the detective?
of everything. No, some other random guy.
Because it's a point where they think it's her, don't we?
Yeah, because they find her
in the movie.
In the streets. Well, see, in the books, they don't think it's her. They think she was an accessory. They think she hid it or is protecting him. And they are certain from the get-go that it's him. Every piece of evidence points to him. I can't remember if there's DNA that comes up in the end. But anyway, everything points to him. So, and then again, piece by piece, when she meets his family, and she finds out from her dad that he borrowed the money, and her friend who he asked to represent her, and then that he got sacked from work, and all the pieces that fall together. in the end she realizes he's guilty, and there's other things that happen as well that demonstrates
Link to his guilt.
Yeah.
So what happens in the end of the book? Does he go and does he pick up the child and do that drive off with the kid?
No, he never comes back. He's in that island. He's in a different country, so he never reappears again, except writing her this letter about a year later, apologizing for leaving her, just completely like, you know, charming her in the way that he had the same way in the movie, saying, if you still love me or if there's any chance that you believe me, come to this place, blah, blah, blah. And she goes straight to the police and gives the letter to the police, and they go there to try to get him, but he had lied to her about where he was. But because of the lie, they were still able to track him because he had actually been there in the beginning. So he'd told her to meet him at this island. The coppers went there. He sort of suspected that they would, but he had actually been at the island. So there was enough evidence of him there for them to trace it back.
And so did they get him in the end?
They get him in the end, but he doesn't stand trial or anything. Like the book
What happens?
The book finishes with them contacting her and saying, we lost him at the island. He was there, but he's not there, but we've got a lead on him. And then they contact her and say, we've found him. And that's pretty much it. And she's like, I don't really give a fuck, pretty much. Without saying that, she's pretty much like, sure.
Shacked up with someone else.
Him,
yeah.
But whatever.
Okay. So the TV series has the whole court proceeding, him then getting in the car, driving off with the kid, going to the bridge, trying to kill himself. Yeah. But in the book, it's just, we found him. End.
Yeah.
I can see why the TV show's a bit more fucking...
Yeah.
An extra half to 3/4 of a star.
Yeah, but you have to think, though, like, who... They say that this book is, like, this massive big deal. It's, like, this amazing book, and everyone loves it. And it's a Reese's book, I'm pretty sure. It's an Oprah book. It's on everyone's list of great books.
Maya Angelou.
I didn't think it was amazing. But how did they know that it could be something great to a TV show? They obviously changed a shit ton of it. But the premise, I guess, was enough for them to pick it up and go, yeah, look, we're going to change the fuck out of this book.
Yeah.
But this story is enough for us to create something else.
Well, that's interesting because there's a show we're watching on Amazon Prime at the moment called...
Perfect Strangers.
Well, there's that one, but also this other one called Tell Me Your Secrets. And I don't know if that's based on a book.
I am almost certain it is.
Because I could see how they've read the book and gone, this will be a great TV show. Because at the beginning, it's like, fuck me, this is going to be a great TV series. But it kind of wanes. It's kind of the opposite of what's happened there.
Yeah.
So it's like they've got, with this one, they found a book where they've got, okay, there's potential here. Let's actually jazz this shit up. Where with this one, it's like they've got a great book and they've kind of fudged it a little bit.
Well, that's the same thing with Nine Perfect Strangers, and we won't go into it because hopefully we'll have a discussion about it at another day. But I read the book and again wanted to watch the show the day after, which is when it's streaming at the moment, and it still isn't finished streaming, so we're up to the most recent episode. Fucking the premise is there, but they've completely changed the majority of the context. And the same with Big Little Lies. Both books are in an Australian setting, in an Australian suburb, an Australian town, an Australian lifestyle. And both times they felt that they couldn't do it like adequately. To correct myself, Nine Perfect Strangers was actually filmed in Australia. It's filmed somewhere in Byron Bay. And
it is. And you know, Vinny sent me through a link today from realestate.com.au. Hey, you can stay there. $6,100 a night. Worth every penny, I say.
If I had a spare $6,000 a night, I would 100% go there.
Well, that was a great discussion. We really had fun talking about everything and, of course, nothing. We hope you enjoyed listening.
Tune in next time to hear more of Stupid Bitches Say What and our official launch, Tuesday the 5th of October 2021, dedicated to Australia and New Zealand true crime.
And also, don't forget to email us at stupidbsaywhat@gmail.com for any feedback or comments you have about this episode or suggestions for new topics.
And please follow our socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Stupid Bees Say What.
Yeah, that stupid bitch. He's a stupid bitch. What a stupid bitch. That's stupid. bitch.